again, good friends. Welcome, new subscribers. I'm Brian from Apex Detail. I mentioned in a past video I wanted to get into more detail or get into the anatomy of clear coat and also explain why the best first logical step for someone just getting into the business to take when expanding surfaces from just basic cleanings would be a paint enhancement. It's safe, it's quick, it's easy, it gives you a chance to get used to clear coat and the properties of clear coat. It gives you a chance to get used to compounds, polishes, and some of the tools associated with correction, rotary, dual action, polishers, orbital polishers. But before we get into that, as we move on with the video, I do want to start with clear coat. Alright, so a side view of the substrate or the panel. This would be the primer layer, the base coat or the color coat, usually a mil or two thick, and then you have your clear coat layer. Now they call for a minimum of 2 mils or 50 microns to give you maximum protection for the base coat. And there's a reason that it's 2 mils. It's really hard to squeeze enough UVA, UVB absorbers or retractors into 1.5 mils before it gives your clear coat an orange tinge. So they call for 2 mils minimum for maximum protection. Now, GM, Ford, Chrysler, they just barely give you enough clear coat from factory to begin with for maximum protection without removing anything. But they will allow for some removal before warranty is removed or expired. Chrysler will give you 0.0 mils to work with to remove from the clear coat before they void the warranty. Ford will give you 0.3 mils, and GM will give you 0.5 mils. Just 3 quick examples. Now, the UVA, UVB absorbers or retractors in the clear coat, they have a low center of gravity. So they will migrate along with your solvents as the clear coat starts to cure to the top of the clear coat. I've read and seen them in many places where it's within the first 10 microns. I'd argue that it's more within the first 30 microns from my research. And then it starts to really get thin as you work your way towards the base coat here. Now, what do I mean when I say migration to the top of the clear coat with the solvents? Well, clear coat, there's many agents added to clear coat to get it from the can to the surface of your car successfully. Flex agents, solvents, hardeners, reducers, and they need to evaporate through the top of the clear as the clear cures. And they will also take with them, because of the low center of gravity, the UVA, UVB inhibitors or absorbers. So they will be, yes, within the first top half of the clear coat, but not that highly concentrated to the first 10 microns, usually the first 30 microns or beyond. Now, when it comes to paint enhancements and what they can take care of, well, what you have commonly and really what happens to every substrate is oxidation. Oxidation is heat and oxygen introduced to the surface. Electrons are then released. Left behind are going to be dead clear coat molecules to be removed. This will make the surface look chalky or light or dull, and this is where a paint enhancement can be done safely, quickly. You can be profitable, and you're staying within the first micron or 2 when you're working with a paint enhancement. All right, we will move on to paint enhancements next. I'll give you a couple examples on different colors and different techniques and products and pads to use. But before we do, I just want to give you something to think about. The half-life of these UVA, UVB absorbers and reflectants have a half-life of about 5 years. So in 5 years' time, every 5 years, the concentration of those absorbers will be cut in half by 50%. So do the math with a daily driver. That's 5 years old. That's 10 years old. That's 15 years old. Just something to keep in mind. All right, let's head out into the shop now and we'll move on. Okay, since I have a bunch of test panels laying around for training purposes, we'll grab the first one here, the black panel, the black hood. It's hazed over, it's dull, needs a little bit of a tune-up, and that's what I grabbed. The Wax Shop Tune-Up 3000. It's a very fine polish, fine abrasives, finishes down well, long working time, zero dusting. So what we're going to do, we're going to team it up with a foam pad and just quick do an enhancement. When it comes to pads, when it comes to foam pads, there are many out there that you can pick up and purchase for the purpose of either one step or enhancements. And it just depends on, do you have hard clear coat? Do you have soft clear coat? Is it really trashed? Just does it need a little bit of polishing to bring out some clarity? It's not really that bad. That's where you want to pick up maybe a 6-pack from anywhere. You can order 6-packs, 12-packs, order just maybe 2 or 3. Get a couple different types of foam pads for the purpose of enhancements. Now I do have the video sped up quite a bit to keep the video at least under 15 minutes. This is going to be a longer one for me. So arm speed is going to be the usual correction arm speed, 1 to 2 inches per second or 2. Pressure is going to be quite moderate on the first pass. I want to take advantage of the abrasives before they diminish completely. The second, third, fourth pass, however many you're going to do, whatever result you're looking for, just switch your hand, and for your second, third, and following passes, just let the weight of the polisher do the work to finish up. And you're going to see a huge difference. Just an absolute huge difference. It's not perfect. You're going to see deep scratches. You're going to see some etching maybe left behind. All we're looking for in enhancement is just an improvement on gloss and clarity, and that's it. And the purpose of this is to get around the car quickly, safely, with no damage for you guys just getting used to clear coat, polishes, compounds, and polishers, and make some money. All right, let's move on to a white colored hood. The lighter colors, white, champagne, bronze, silver, grays, it takes a little bit more effort to get them to pop and stand out. If you're parked next to a bunch of other white cars, the owners want them to stand out. They want them to beg for attention. So I will normally grab the Angel Wax Perfect Polish or the Polish Angel Escalate Lotion. But you can grab anything like this, like I have here. I'm going to just keep using the Tune-Up 3000, and it will give it a little bit of an extra pop, some more clarity, some more gloss, some more reflection. So I just changed it up a little bit here. We have a larger panel, so on a roof, on a trunk, on a hood, I'll grab the long throw polisher, and I'll grab a finishing microfiber pad. Just about every line will have a polishing or a finishing microfiber pad. The temperatures do run just a little bit higher, and they are just a little bit more aggressive, so you can compensate by leaving up or easing up on the pressure just a bit, and maybe speeding up arm speed just a little bit. So keep in mind, with these enhancements, or I like to call them exfoliations, because really we're just removing some of the dead clear molecules, some of the oxidation. We're not lessening the clear's ability to protect that gorgeous color underneath whatsoever. We're just bringing out clarity, gloss, and reflection. A bit more difficult to see the change in depth, clarity, reflection in the lighter colors, especially white through the camera. But standing in front of it, there is a nice difference. There is a good turnaround, and you add wax or sealant or some type of protection, which is a must, and the customer is going to be happy. Okay, so let me pause the video one last time and briefly talk about using wet sanding to spot correct and polishing, keeping the temperature down on the substrate. Temperatures, high heat, along with making the clear coat just too thin to be effective, is clear coat's worst enemy. When I polish, and I've mentioned it in many videos, videos that go way back, I try to keep the temperature down by keeping the speed on my polishers somewhere around mid-speed, the third or fourth speed setting on my polishers. Also, pressure. Pressure has a lot to do with it. You'll see me use moderate pressure on the first pass, and then I will quickly ease up, switch the hand, and just guide the polisher back and forth on following passes. I hardly use a ton of pressure. Pressure also raises the temperature on clear coat. 140 degrees is failure and an absolute nightmare for clear coat. So stay away from those type of spiking temperatures. And if you're working on a panel, and I've mentioned this before, why I use wet sanding to spot correct. Wet sanding, and I use 3000 grit. It's not aggressive, does not raise the temperature whatsoever. The 3000 grit is not aggressive, will not remove a ton of clear, and you'll be safe. If you have a panel, a fender, room temperature at 72 degrees, and you're there just plowing away with a DA and a microfiber pad, spiking the heat in that little concentrated area where the rest of the panel is room temperature, you cannot apply any more stress than that to clear coat. So it's another reason I introduced those low lint wool pads from Lake Country. They keep the temperature down 15 to 20 degrees cooler than a lot of your other microfiber and foam pads. That will help you keep the temperature down. If you're working on a panel, if the panel's 72 degrees, I try never to take the temperature of the concentrated area I'm working on higher than 85, 90. So keep it within 20 degrees of the rest of the panel, and you will keep the stress on that clear coat down, and you will be good to go. Okay, let's move on. All right, this time we'll slam the silver hood down on the horses and get to work on silver. Another color that can take a little bit more effort to get it to pop, stand out, give it some extreme reflection and gloss. They're just dull, boring colors. So I'm going to switch pads once again. We're going to go to a white foam polishing pad. This is just a slight step above the application, the black application pads. Not aggressive, very soft. You'll even notice under the weight of the polisher, the foam really starts to give. So with these, I'll slow the arm to speed down just a little bit further so it gives the foam pad a chance to do some work. But we're going to use the exact same very fine polish and the exact same polisher, the same method, the same speed, and you'll see the difference. All right, again, that was just a very quick clear coat exfoliation. All we did was remove the dead paint, and you can see the difference. You can see the outline of the test area, and a lot of customers are just going to be ecstatic to have that kind of turnaround. It's a quick turnaround. You can get around the car quick, easy. It's safe for the clear coat and profitable. Okay, guys, I hope that helped. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. We will move on to one-step corrections. We'll take another step, two-step, three-step corrections. We'll go to wet sanding. I do want to get to wet sanding. I'm looking forward to that because I use it a lot. Overspray, scratches, oxidation removal, imperfections. I tend to use it more on the side or the bottom half of vehicles where the sun will not hit it directly because you're going to be removing some clear coat. Not a ton of it the way I do it with 3000 grit, but you will remove some. And you can get into trouble with the durability of the clear coat and then how it can protect. And when it comes to removing scratches, it's a conversation I'm going to have with that customer. I'm going to put down the paperwork. You know, the customer does realize the benefits and also the hazards of removing the clear coat to fix those scratches, and it keeps your butt covered. It's just something to do if you own a business, and we will get into that. I will get into that in great detail. But until then, you guys have an awesome weekend. Brian from Apex Detail. Catch you in the next video.